Buenos dias from Palamos. This is the Rorschach Spain update from the 16th of July, 2026. Quick summary of what's going down in Spain. First up, big news for football fans. On Tuesday the 14th, Spain reached the 2026 FIFA World Cup final held in Dallas, Texas, with a 2-0 victory over tournament favorites France. Luis de la Fuente, the team coach, delivered a disciplined, controlled performance to neutralize France's attacking threat and book their place in Sunday's final against Argentina. The defeat ends France's hopes of reaching a third consecutive World Cup final and marks the final tournament for coach Didier Deschamps, who steps down after 14 years. In border news, on Wednesday the 15th, Gibraltar enters its new post-Brexit era after the border fence with Spain was officially removed, allowing free movement between the British Overseas Territory and Spain under a landmark UK-EU treaty, which kind of means Gibraltar is now part of Spain. The agreement, reached after 4 years of negotiations, avoids a hard border that threatens Gibraltar's economy, which relies on around 15,000 cross-border Spanish workers. Residents and visitors can now cross without lengthy queues at the frontier, making daily commuting, family visits, and leisure travel significantly easier. Gibraltar has effectively joined the Schengen free travel area, although travelers arriving from outside Schengen will still undergo checks at the territory's airport and port by both British and Spanish officials and comply with the EU's entry-exit system. To offset the removal of the physical barrier and to save face, Gibraltar has introduced facial recognition cameras, expanded CCTV coverage, and increased police, custom, and Coast Guard resources. Next, as of Sunday the 12th, the death toll from devastating wildfires in Spain's Almeria province reached 13 after a 93-year-old British woman died from severe burns sustained in the blaze. Fires burned through much of Los Gallardos, southern Spain, and are among the deadliest in the country's history. More than 1,000 evacuated residents have now been allowed to return home after authorities declared that the fire was contained. Juanma Moreno, Andalusian president, has warned that the region is experiencing an average of 15 forest fires a day during the summer. According to the rural agents and Department of Agriculture elsewhere in the country, more than 150 wildfires have been recorded in Catalonia, making it the second highest total for this stage of the year since 2010. Taking a look at the economy and prices on Wednesday, the 15th, the National Statistics Institute reported that Spain's annual inflation rate remained unchanged at 3.2% in June, marking the third consecutive month at that level despite rising electricity and gas prices. Households paid more for electricity and gas after the government ended temporary tax cuts on energy bills on the 1st of June. However, cheaper fuel helped keep overall inflation lower as tax measures continued to reduce petrol and diesel prices for most of the month before ending at the end of June. Meanwhile, core inflation, which excludes energy and fresh food, fell to 2.9% as prices for some tourist-related services rose more slowly. The government said its measures helped protect households from rising living costs despite pressure on global energy markets. Meanwhile, in politics, on Wednesday the 15th, PSOE, the Socialist Party, widened its lead over the opposition Partido Popular, PP, despite recent corruption scandals, according to the latest Center for Sociological Research polls. Survey puts PSOE 33% of the vote, up 1.7 percentage points from June, while PP fell 2 points to just over 25%, leaving 7.9% lead for Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. Vox, the far-right fascist party, is projected to receive the third most with 15.3%. And that's not all. According to the poll, just over 40% of respondents say that the country's housing shortage is hugely important to them, followed by immigration and other policies. Although Sanchez remained the preferred choice for prime minister, neither he nor PP leader Alberto Núñez Feijóo commands high levels of public trust. Poll also found broad public approval of Pope Leo XIV's recent visit to Spain, with more than 3/4 of respondents viewing it positively and expressing support for his stance on immigration. On the same day, the country was praised for its leadership in accessible tourism by Spain for All Advisory Committee Summit in Valencia, organized by the Spanish Tourist Office. Tourism professionals, accessibility experts, and disability advocates were particularly impressed with the country's investment in inclusive travel, particularly in Valencia, which was recognized for its accessible beaches, transport, and attractions. The city offers adapted beach facilities, amphibious wheelchairs, assisted bathing programs, step-free public transport, and accessible cultural experiences, including support features at the famous Las Fallas Festival, which usually takes place in March. Industry representatives describe Spain as setting a high standard for meeting the needs of disabled travelers, with several praising Valencia as a destination they would confidently recommend. The country isn't just dominating at the World Cup either this week. On Sunday the 12th, they successfully won 5 of the 9 available medals at the inaugural FISU World University Championship Padel in Malaga in the south. Tournament crowned the first university world champions in women's doubles and men's doubles, and also introduced mixed doubles as a new competition format, widening the success of padel as a popular sport. Italy claimed both gold and silver in the men's doubles final, while France earned bronze in women's doubles and silver in the mixed doubles. Next up, talk about renewables. On Monday the 13th, the Port of Valencia began testing for the country's first offshore floating solar platform, marking a huge milestone in the national renewable energy transition. The Piporta platform, which was developed by Renewables with support from Naturgy, aims to generate 1 megawatt of electricity using bifacial solar panels that capture both direct sunlight and light reflected from the sea. Practical terms, that's enough electricity to power around 250 average homes at the same time. The project supports Valencia's efforts to decarbonize port operations and strengthen Spain's leadership in marine renewable energy. In royal news, on Friday the 10th, Leonor, the crown princess, completed her 3-year military training, becoming the first heir to the Spanish throne to undertake preparation across the Army, Navy, and Air Force. At a graduation ceremony at the General Air and Space Academy in Murcia, the 20-year-old was promoted to junior naval officer by her father, King Felipe VI, who serves as Captain General of the country's armed forces. Milestone marks another step in Leonor's preparation to become the country's first reigning queen in 150 years and future commander-in-chief of the military. The royal family remains important to many people from all regions, nationally representing itself as both a symbol of unity, constitutional stability, and tradition, and while at times being mixed up at legal action and media scrutiny, it still endures. It's almost time for one of the country's deadliest traditions. On Wednesday, the 15th, Spain's 2026 San Fermin Festival in Pamplona ended with 2 runners losing their lives during the 8th and final bull run. The 6th fighting bulls completed the 875-meter course in around 2.5 minutes, highlighting the speed and danger of the now infamous event. The most recent fatality occurred in 2009, while serious injuries remained common during the annual festival. This year's San Fermin also marked the 100th anniversary of Ernest Hemingway's novel The Sun Also Rises, which helped make the Pamplona Festival internationally famous. And finally, the historic 2024 Dana that caused huge damage and destruction due to flooding in the Valencia region is continually rebuilding. This week, El Mundo and Naturgy have shown an interesting recovery program that's worth taking a look at. Working with the Red Cross, the initiative is helping vulnerable families rebuild after flooding while making their homes more energy efficient. Crews are repairing damage, improving insulation, upgrading electrical systems, fitting new windows, and installing energy-saving appliances. The program focuses on uninsured households, including families with children, older people, and those facing financial hardship. In hard-hit towns like Catarroja, teams have cleared mud and debris, repairing homes and restoring essential services. Find out more about the project, check out the full article in Spanish in the show notes below. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. If you want to be a pal, since we don't advertise for it, the link to the show to 3 friends who might like it, or post it on social media and tag some people. Thanks. Anything to ask or tell us, email us at info@rorschach.com. Hasta la próxima.